What up, everybody? This is your boy, The Juice, and I'm back. So, the album has been out for a couple months now. This is March 22nd, I believe, 2026. And I just wanted to give y'all an update. There's some context to the album. So, I intentionally made the album to feel dirty and rough, and I don't know that I've articulated that. So, because the album deals with healing and deals with acceptance, and my truth is that the healing is not a pretty thing. It's oftentimes messy, and sometimes it's imperfect. And I wanted to reflect that in the sound of Healmatic. So everything from me rushing myself to record it in 2.5 days to the way that I mixed it and leaving a lot of the rawness in it and imperfections, even with the way things were edited and clipped and stuff like that. I was all intentional, because again, I wanted it to feel authentic. The one note I left myself before I started the process as a reminder was that keep the energy, keep the emotion of it. And to me, that was the most important thing, is having the spirit and the feeling of what Healmatic meant, keeping it there. So I didn't want to overproduce it. I didn't want it to be polished, because to me that is a complete antithesis of how healing has been. It has not been pretty, has not been polished. So I wanted the music to be in alignment with that. So I know a lot of people only can listen to music if it feels if it sounds good, right? And I knew that me going this route would ultimately turn a lot of people off sonically, because it didn't. I took out a lot of the bass frequencies and other stuff in the mastering, and all of that was intentional. I feel like music and like sound in general, but music more specifically, in nature, there's an infinite spectrum of sound and frequency. And I feel like in music today, people are stuck in certain frequencies, and they'll have to hear things in a certain frequency. And I wanted to challenge that. I did a similar thing with my blues trilogy I released years ago. Well, I guess I don't know, whenever it was. But I wanted to do a similar thing here, is where I wanted the sound to challenge the listener, because again, healing is a challenge, and it takes intention, and it takes diving deeper than, does it sound good, does it bump, does it have beats. I wanted it to sound like someone who's going through shit. I wanted it to sound rough and uncomfortable at times, and just raw. So that is the sound of Healmatic. That is the frequency, that is the energy, that is the spirit of Healmatic. So I hope that whoever listens can approach it from a standpoint of not, hey, this album doesn't sound perfect, but instead of saying, wow, he really made music that reflected the energy of healing in real time. There's the insecurity, there's, like I said, rawness, there's a lot of things that are just uncomfortable and not pretty, and that's Healmatic. But it was intentional, and I think just as much as it's uncomfortable at times, it's also intentional all the time. And healing is intentional as well. So thank you all for listening. Peace and love.